Hello, everyone, and we have some news for you. You might have realized that Bitcoin started dropping pretty much right after the Fed today announced that they were not decreasing interest rates. Now, it's kind of dumb that it started dropping. It's dropped about 1,500 points so far, but I think it's because people saw that Elizabeth Warren wanted Jerome Powell to actually drop rates. And they actually thought Elizabeth Warren, bless her little heart, could actually convince Jerome Powell to drop rates. Well, Jerome Powell does not give two shits about Elizabeth Warren. He did not drop the rates. And furthermore, he said he probably would not drop them in March, as he gave us a gold nugget saying, like, we do not foresee a reason to drop rates in March. So you will have to wait until May to get those rates. Now, this is not like Jerome Powell being evil and wanting the American people to suffer, although he might want that as well. But the thing is, this was the plan all along, basically. He is just sticking to the plan that he made. He is not making any adjustments because there needs to be no adjustments made. The economy is not that bad right now. So there's no reason for him to actually lower rates any sooner than planned. It's not like unemployment's going through the roof at this point. It's not like businesses are completely failing. There is a bank that actually had trouble today where their stock went down 40% because they didn't meet revenue expectations. But that literally happens like every single quarter, especially for these small banks. Yes, tech companies are laying off, but they do this like around this time, like every single year. So to me, the economy isn't really slowing down. And the Fed has been wanting the economy to actually slow down for quite a while now to control inflation. Inflation is actually being controlled. Gas prices are coming down due to decreased demand from both China and increased production from the United States, regardless of what's happening in the Red Sea area. So things are becoming back to normal, and Jerome Powell should actually just stay the course. He should not all of a sudden cut rates just because Elizabeth Warren asked him to. Jerome Powell is not Gary Gensler. He does not care what Elizabeth Warren says. And Warren probably wants him to cut rates just as much because it's election season as well. And that is not a good reason to cut rates. Because, Jerome Powell obviously is from the opposite party as Joe Biden, so he's probably not too interested in helping Joe Biden anyways. But Biden's also not really like a pushy president when it comes to these things. He generally lets his advisors and these the Fed people basically do what they want. He will probably not press them to cut any more than they have to. So you're probably getting 3 rate cuts this year. But the thing is, the reason we went down is because Powell did not cut when some people thought he would. And furthermore, he said he would not cut next time. So that probably led the market to go in kind of a tailwind, spin-wind type of thing. And I don't think this I don't think this fall will actually last too long. Usually these Fed actions essentially affect it for a day or two and then we bounce back. We're still at 42K right now. We might dump down to 40K. I don't really see us going below 40K right now because the Fed, these Fed decisions, unless they're really horrible, don't really last long term. And there were a significant amount of people, myself included, that basically said, yeah, he's not going to cut this time. I still think he's going to cut first time in May. So it's only the part of people that thought he would actually cut to boost the economy right now, which honestly, the economy does not need boosting at this point. It is doing perfectly fine. Unemployment is low. All the numbers look really good. So you didn't really have the statistics for the Fed to start cutting rates, and Powell said so as much. So kudos to Jerome Powell for sticking to the script and not actually bowing to pressure. And yeah, I do not think this particular dump will last all that long. So FTX will actually try to return all the money to creditors, and they are not rebooting FTX. That is probably a smart decision because rebooting FTX would be a dumb decision. You don't reboot damaged goods. There were not enough investors interested, which means people in crypto aren't insane, at least not completely insane, because if they decided to launch FTX, they would actually be completely and utterly insane. You don't relaunch damaged goods. That is not a thing. That should not be a thing. They seriously considered it. But that also means they're probably not going to try to scrap all the money they can from the basically from the customers, and the customers will probably get back more. Note that they said this wasn't a guarantee that the customers would get all their money back. It was going to be an attempt to give all the money back to customers. I don't really know how much that means, but you're probably going to get the bulk of your money back, especially, those of you that have like more privileged status within this claim. So my guess is probably like 70% or more, which is pretty good for FTX victims a year and a half after the hack. Now, I don't really know if they're going to pay you back according to the $17,000 value of Bitcoin, because if they do that, you're only getting 30 cents on the dollar. But there have been class action lawsuits that have rejected the 70 cents on the dollar and are demanding basically full recompensation at $43,000 or just in-kind payment. Now, I would actually go for the in-kind payment, but I don't think that's possible right now because they already liquidated a lot of their Bitcoin via Grayscale, as we saw. That was the reason for the first Grayscale dump. And I don't know if they have anything else to liquidate. If they do, then various coins will go down, whichever ones they own. But like I said, I don't really know if they have that much to actually liquidate at this point. So yeah, the whole FTX thing, I think, is finally coming to an end. I think creditors will and customers will get most of their money back. There was a Ripple executive wallet hack, and that was Chris Larsen. His wallet actually got hacked for like, I think $112 million or something. Ripple's network was not hacked. I know there was a rumor going on that the Ripple wallet was originally hacked, but that was a lie. It was only Chris Larsen's personal wallet that was hacked. So it's not a big deal. Some people are saying it's an inside job. I mean, why would Larsen give anyone his keys? Maybe he got phished. I'm not really sure, but it is not a compromise of the Ripple or XRP ledger. So people should not be too worried about this. And speaking of the XRP ledger, it looks like the AMM amendment has finally gotten 80%, so you will have the liquidity pool soon, which may lead to yield farming. Not exactly sure how that's going to work without smart contracts, but I think it will be a boost for XRP that people can actually generate yield via liquidity. I think some people in the XRP network are saying that this could be used to manipulate the price, but the price is manipulated enough as it is, honestly, so it probably doesn't really matter all that much. But I definitely think it brightens the prospects for XRP's future because the TVL, having a TVL is actually very, very important for the next bull run because it's all going to be about DeFi. It's not really going to be about industrial utility because I don't think that's ever really mattered, and that's not really going to start mattering anytime soon. So that's actually a bright spot for XRP's future, that the AMM amendment is probably going to be passed as long as the validators don't suddenly change their minds in the next 2 weeks, and if their test network doesn't crash or something like that. So it's a very good day for the XRP amendments, not a very good day for the Ripple execs. They have frozen all the funds, however, and they are working with law enforcement to bring down the person that actually hacked the wallet. And it very well could be like a former employee or someone within Ripple, because who else would possibly get access to Chris Larsen's wallet and not the network as a whole. And of course, Hamas victims from October 7th have sued Binance. Now, October 7th was definitely a bad event, but I think they're suing the wrong people. Now, this does come on the heels of the government saying something about Binance with terror financing, so maybe they got the idea there, or maybe the government is also pushing this lawsuit. The government, the DOJ, seems very, very vengeful against Binance. They've seen very vengeful against Binance ever since CZ took down FTX. I do believe the victims should be entitled to some compensation. But, Binance is a very, very small part of that terrorist funding. They get funded way more from US dollars, as several senators have been forced to admit. So I think they're going after the wrong target. Binance has also had KYC for a long time now. Also, the US DOJ is suing them, but Binance is not headquartered in the United States. Only Binance.us is. And since 2019, and they've literally been KYC basically forever, their entire time. So they're suing him for the period of 2017 to 2023, saying that they purposely misled regulators and helped finance terrorism. And I don't really believe that at any extent. I believe this is part of the US vendetta against Binance. And of course, the victims do have some entitlement to what Binance can pay them for the small part that they actually did in aiding terrorism. I believe the on-chain analysis showed a couple of $100,000 over all those years to Hamas compared to the billions of dollars they probably laundered in physical USD. Because physical money is much easier to launder and smuggle than actual blockchain transactions, especially with Bitcoin, which can be traced fairly easily. And Binance has actually worked very well with regulators. Remember, Binance has already paid $4.3 billion to the DOJ. I think if the families are looking for some kind of settlement, they should actually get their money out of the $4.3 billion already paid. This is a class action lawsuit, and the families obviously deserve some compensation from somewhere. I'm just not really sure if they deserve to get it from Binance, because they were like, and if the amount they're suing for, it shouldn't be massive from Binance, because USD played 1,000 times the role that like crypto did in terms of terrorist financing. And I'm not really sure how much link they can actually find between Binance and the Hamas financing stuff. I feel like this is kind of like the government's vendetta against Binance, and these people are kind of like swept up in it, and they are hoping to get damages, which they should actually get from some party or other, but it might just be that the government should be paying them instead of Binance at this point, because the government's already gotten $4.6 billion from Binance for such activities. But I'm sure Binance will end up paying some out, whether to settle the case or otherwise. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.